Hello, my name is Nicholas Rosas. Be giving an informative speech on the American obesity epidemic that we're going through right now. Um, it's one of our most upgoing and prolific problems. It's not talked about as much. There's a lot of shame and politics that go into it that kind of complicate the issue. Um, I like to start off with a quote from our Surgeon General. Her name is Regina Benjamin. She shared this message directly to the American population. Um, She and I quote, "Our nation stands at a crossroads today. Uh, Today's epidemic of overweight and obesity threatens the historic progress we have made in increasing Americans' quality of and years of healthy living. Two-thirds of adults and nearly one-third of children are overweight or obese." Uh, that's kind of a scary statistic if you think about it. As an LVN, I've seen a lot of the overweight population. I've cared for most of them, provided care for them. A lot of the elderly are overweight and unhealthy, and obese. I've seen firsthand the complications that come from being obese and the way that it can make living complicated, and it's very reversible. Um, so the purpose of this speech is to inform you about not only what causes this, but the current rates that we're going and where we're headed and ways to prevent it, and also the way that obesity affects people um, in terms of their health. So, first off, I want to introduce some statistics about the epidemic. Um, as stated by the Surgeon General, two-thirds of adults and one in every three children are overweight or obese. So that the severity is kind of a wide range where there's being overweight, there's being obese, and then there's severely obese. Those are kind of like the three categories. Um, so as you can see in these charts, uh, it doesn't look good. They're mostly in the red. Um, According to America's Health, 22 of the 50 states in America have a population that's 35% overweight. If you can look at this chart right here, under Trust of America's Health, 22 of those states are red, so that means 35% of the population is obese or overweight. And then if you look at the orange states there, that's 19 of those states, 30 to 35% of the population, which is nearly the same, is overweight. And those are the majority of the states. I think the only one that has 25 or less is Colorado. And then California and New York are close second. Um, those are pretty bad statistics. Uh, you can see kind of where the trend is heading. According to Stalker, the obesity rates all the way back from 1988 were tracked, all the way to 2020. So this is a growing trend. This has been going on since the the 80s, basically when food became a manufacturing um, issue, or more of a commerce issue than a health issue. Um, Severe obesity, as you can see, from 1988 went up from about almost 2% to jumping to nearly 10% from 1988 to 2020. And with regular obesity, or just obesity, I shouldn't say regular, it jumped from about 22% all the way up to above 40, and they're both trending up. So they're continuing to rise, and now we're in 2024, so I imagine they're still going further. So those are also disturbing trends that you can see now. Um, Choices, the Childhood Obesity Intervention Cost Effectiveness Study, uh, had a prediction basically that said by 2030, nearly half of Americans ob will be obese, more than half. And they have a chart here that shows the darker states, almost black color, showing 50 to 59% of their population would be obese. Um, and that looks like the majority of the states as well, with even less than half being 40 to 49%. That's where we're headed. It's not where we're at, but that's where we can be. Um, that leaves a grim reality and a very scary prediction, but it doesn't seem to be wrong based off of the two charts. Once you look at everything and together, you can just kind of see where we're headed and where we're going in terms of health and obesity. Um, but Since there are so many obese people and obesity is on the rise and being overweight, I want to talk about, secondly, I want to move over to some facts about the health issues related to obesity. Um, as you can see on this chart, obesity comes with a lot of side effects. Um, as stated by as cancer.gov right here shows, your risk for cancers, these specific type of cancers go up just by being overweight. So you have melanoma, meningioma, adenocarcinoma, kidney cancer, endometrium cancer, cancer, ovarian cancer, sorry, colon and rectal cancer, pancreatic cancer, upper stomach cancer, gallbladder cancer, thyroid cancer, and breast cancer. These are serious cancers that usually lead to end of life. Um, in 2024, as you can see from here, Harvard also posted a study that showed that obesity increases your mortality rate by 49% in terms of your cardiovascularity, your respiratory diseases, and your cancer. Your risk for having all those things nearly doubles. So that in itself brings more complications. So there isn't any illusion that obesity brings health. It only brings more complications. And to speak of those complications, Webmaster did a nice little compilation of everything that puts you at risk when you're obese. So you're more likely to get asthma, COPD, gout, gallstones, pancreatitis, gastroesophageal reflux disease. You're going to end up with heart failure, hypertension. You can end up with edema, brain issues, dementia, intracranial swelling, depression, type 2 diabetes, which is very common, and then all the cancers that we talked about. So that being obese, and there needs to be more awareness to show that this is a problem. This is, especially for our future when we have 1 in 3 children being obese. So in conclusion, I would say that it's clear that we have a real problem. The epidemic is a growing issue that needs to be brought to light and addressed, and it needs to be a concern that is shared, not shamed, and it needs to be done in a way that's apolitical without bringing any controversy to it. Um, Obesity can lead to long-term health complications, but it can be reversed and it can be stopped with a good diet, exercise, and healthy choices. And that's my presentation. Thank you for taking the time.